How's it going, everybody? It's Henry here. We're gonna take a little bit more look at this week of astrology, because with Mercury retrograde, we're getting more information, and we don't have all the information. We're not going to until Mercury, leaves shadow, as in when it reaches the place where it started retrograding from and passes it. So this is a really rare astronomy we have going on. You can see that we've got all of these planets within about 18 degrees of each other, all in the same sign of Aquarius. So to have a pileup or a stellium like this is really rare, and it's the primary energy we have going on. The planets aren't really beholding each other by aspects. It's another thing I've been considering. Venus is ruling Mars and Taurus here, and it's the only planet that's beholding any of the other planets by aspect. The others, they're all together in the same energy within 18 degrees, just a little bit over half of a sign. And I also want to point out that the moon, as of the time of recording this video, as of the time of recording this video, is at the place where it was in the annual revolution. So this is the moon coming right back to the place where it was at the spring equinox. So it's right there. We're picking up on the same emotions, or the emotional sense is very strong, very connected to the mundane astrology. But now all of these planets are together. Mercury is there, the Sun is there, Venus is there, Jupiter's there, Saturn's there. No planet was there except for the moon in the revolution. And the moon is here for this new moon in Aquarius. So it's really a rare astronomy. And we just don't have all the information about it. Mercury has to move back through this process and then move ahead. So let's look at when that will be, because we know Mercury will be direct. I have it written down here on the 20th. But that's only when it starts going forward again, so let's kind of skip ahead to that. Okay. Mercury leaves Jupiter, passes Jupiter on the 13th, and starts applying towards Saturn, but doesn't reach Saturn. So we're going to get a lot of themes coming out pointing us towards this Saturn dominated sign. The same planets except for the moon are all still right here in this pileup. But I expect we'll be having a lot of themes towards the Saturn coming up around this time. And Saturn is still denominating pretty much everything. So, we're looking at traditional planets right now. Helps me think about it without getting confused. So we have Mars, ruled by Venus because it's in Taurus, and then Venus being in Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn. So on the 14th, we won't say, but after Mercury passes Jupiter on the 14th, it's applying towards Saturn. So, and Mercury gains term on the 15th. Mercury already entered face on the 8th, but it enters its own term in Aquarius on the 15th, and doesn't leave that term until the 17th, or the 27th, sorry. So it's about a week where Mercury is in its own term, moving backwards, stations direct, and then moves forward for a week before leaving term. And that's the 27th, the day of the full moon in Virgo. So, yeah. So we'll just take a look. So Mercury goes back. And it gets to about 11 degrees before it enters its retrograde shadow, and then it will move forward with the sun at that time going into Pisces. That's the 18th, and Mercury will be fully direct 2 days later. Jupiter enters its term on the 22nd here, I believe, or around the 15th degree. I could pull that up, but yeah, let me. No, I don't think I have a. I don't have a book on hand that has the term, so I can't say. But I'm pretty sure Jupiter does enter term around this time, which is a really, it's a good support for the ways that we're needing to expand out this area of Aquarius. So like the stellium sort of loosens after this point. It's really this time that we're in right now that it feels really sort of crammed, So let's see, what day is it? I think it's the 10th, right? So this is where we are now again. But we're really picking up on this, how everything's packed into this 18-degree orb, really. And you can see it out in the world. Our activity is restricted. It's governed by restrictive, more necessary restrictive measures, and at best, but abuse of power at worst. So, well, not at worst. That'd be just an example of something inappropriate. But yeah, and it's all going to Mars. It's all squaring to Mars. So I think we need to look at Venus now. So let's see what Venus does. Venus will enter her term on the 11th, which is tomorrow, right? Yeah. So things were pretty dismal here. We're expecting, in this area of the world, we're expecting ice, and the transportation being stopped for a few days. So, probably more focusing on, this should be a change. It looks like a change in the way we're finding enjoyment. It was a pretty sad day. But I think maybe it'll change in a way we can't really foresee with such a different sort of new moon. So the moon passed through all these planets, and then we'll have the new moon at 23 degrees of Aquarius. So in every different part of the world, in mundane astrology, Aquarius represented a different house, right? Because of, whatever scheme of the annual revolution you're talking about. So every different place, Aquarius is representing something. So in every area of the world, there is this all these significators are crammed into an 18-degree orb, and they slowly but surely leave and move into Pisces from here on out. And then Mars will move into Gemini. So that's what's coming. It's in the future. It's coming before long. It's just there's still a lot of tension and tightness around what we can do for various reasons. But this is a new beginning. One of the astrologers I follow, he was talking about how there's not much fire in this chart. There's no planet in a fire sign. So the moon will enter a water sign after this point. Mercury is applying to Venus, and Venus is applying to Mercury, so it's hard to say what that is, but it's like the way we want to relate face to face is restricted. It's under restrictive influence that's only going to get not more restrictive. You know, in a sense, yeah, because Saturn will have to move through the whole scheme of Aquarius for the next 3 years, but Jupiter's also there too, and Jupiter's making room for all this change. You know. Okay, so we got the moon moving forward through Pisces. Mercury passes Venus. Rethinking our values, rethinking what we are enjoying, how we're relating, rethinking how we're relating in this Aquarian context. And it looks like Mercury is going to pass that on to Jupiter. Jupiter will move forward, and then Mercury will move forward and move past Jupiter again. So it looks, you know, the promise is there. It's all in this background, in the foreground of Saturn, in the background. It's all going back to Saturn for, you know, as far as dignities are concerned and rulerships. So, yeah. So the moon moves through Pisces. You know, it's going to go over Neptune. I don't have that here, but of course it's going over Neptune. And in the midst of this, Saturn is squaring Uranus. Mars sextiles Neptune with that. And it has to do with this fateful configuration with the nodes. Alright, moon is void of course. It's really a change because as the moon goes through Aries, it's a fire, a very personal activity time, a time for personal activity within the context that we have and what's being created for the future. So it's like moving forward and creating for the future. You know, the moon is picking up on Venus, but so the moon is ruled by Mars, which is in Taurus, ruled by Venus. When Venus is in Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. Mercury gets term by this point. Venus has been in its term since the 11th. So, you know, it could be, you know, it's not the end of the world, you know. Like today was really sad, you know. I don't know if you experienced that, but it was a really gloomy sort of time, you know. And, you know, I feel like there's just a lot of connection to the grief of this whole year. Just kind of, you know, I think it's important that we keep feeling alive, you know. Keep each other in our thoughts and prayers, even though we're restricted in ways that are novel for the history of the world. You know, this is an unprecedented time. That's partly why it's so hard to think about. Or it's good that Mercury is going backwards to deal with this twice, because we're just going to get so much more information about a novel event astronomically and astrologically that we haven't seen before. So it's just too rare for there to be this many planets in one sign. So especially Aquarius with Saturn there, but Well, guys, I hope that was interesting. Or just kind of, I don't know, I wanted to record a little bit of something to consider this with, I guess. There's definitely tension. I wish I could do a bit more than state the obvious, but you know, the moon is going to move through and work itself out. You know, it's amazing how things can go on with this many planets in one sign. It's very new, and it'll be quite different in the next new moon, which will be the new moon before the annual revolution. So this is the new moon before the new moon before the annual revolution, if that makes sense. See, it's right here, 0 degree Aries. So this is what we're setting up for. Well, you guys, I hope you are doing well. I pray that you will be blessed in Jesus' name with all understanding and blessing and wisdom. So I thank you guys for listening, and I will catch you on the next one. God bless you all.